Can you kindly fill yours if you have not filled it already? We have about 16 people. How many people have filled their forms? Can you kindly signify? Please, if you have filled the form, can you signify? Can you give a thumbs up? One person, about 20 people online right now. Can we just spare a few minutes and fill the form, Google form? The link is already here. Chat box. Two and one fill forms already. Please, if you have not filled the form, kindly do so now. Fill the Google forms. Can you give a thumbs up? Not kindly do so now. Thank you all. I guess we are currently filling the Google form. You are just joining us and you haven't filled the Google form. Please can you fill now? It's in the chat box. Click on it. Fill the form. Please, once you are done, kindly give a thumbs up so that we are sure you are filled the form. You are just joining us. You are welcome. Kindly fill the form as agreed. Once you are done filling the forms, kindly give You are just joining us. We are busy filling the Google form. Kindly do so too. Thank you. Oh, let's quickly do it so that we can start the meeting, start the session. You are just joining us. You are most welcome. We are busy filling the chat box. You are just joining us. You are most welcome. Have you filled your Google forms? If not, kindly do so so that the session can. Don't fill in the Google forms. Christiana, you big- pardon my pronunciation. Did you just fill the forms or you filled the forms earlier? Christiana, Okay. How many minutes did it take you to fill Christiana? Like how many minutes? Dr. Adebowale, how many minutes? Thank you all for your patience. I think we can start now. Please, if you haven't filled the forms, kindly do so immediately after. Thank you. So today we should be going over resource management and time permit. Tanya will decide if we can take another. Someone is coming back.
Dr.
Sir, you
Nora,
have the
right there. Dr. Norat, I think your network is a little fuzzy.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that clear? If I have the permission, I think we should start, please.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Yes, today and 2 days before that, we've been discussing continuous curvilinear capsulorhexis. So yesterday we had looked at difficult cases, some difficult cases or some, we actually simulated some scenarios that might occur. Today, with your permission, I would like us to look at nucleus management. Where is my nucleus management? Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening as we discuss nucleus management in SICS. First of all, I think we should define what being a surgical procedure, it has a beginning, it has an end. So nucleus management starts with, let me type nucleus, nucleus management, management, all right? Starts, okay? and I'll type 1. How do I type 1 here? So it has gone in. So let me type my 1. Complete separation. Am I correct? Separation of the nucleus from capsule, from the capsular bag, and that is called hydrodissection and or hydrodelineation. Hydro That is the first step in nucleus management. Second step in nucleus management is delivering the nucleus out of capsular bag. That's the second step in nucleus management. Then the third step is now delivering of the nucleus out of the chamber. All right. Thank you, everybody. So if you could look at what I have typed in here, I did it on purpose. So please, if you can read and just give me thumbs up. Let me know I'm not alone here, please. If you have seen what I've typed down in our chat box, just give me some thumbs up, please. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So first is hydrodissection and or hydrodelineation, which simply means make sure that this nucleus is totally separated from the capsular bag, so it is free. When you nudge around the nucleus should move around in a circumferential manner. Second stage in nucleus management is to remove this nucleus out of the capsular bag. We want the bag to remain intact. We do not want to jeopardize the integrity of the capsular bag. So the nucleus has to be delivered out of the capsular bag into the anterior chamber. Then the last part of nucleus management is to deliver the nucleus out of the anterior chamber. Please, because it's a surgical procedure, you must leave the bag in its anatomical position, so you reform the anterior chamber. So the first stage of nucleus management is to reform anterior chamber, reform the anterior chamber, the ant chamber. First, we have an eye to go back to. The eye should not be shallow. The anterior chamber should be reformed. Okay, so let's play the video and then we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody. This is 10 Teachers Principles of Learning Any Ophthalmic Surgery. Please, I had mentioned when we're discussing REXs yesterday that any REXs we end up doing, whether we get it rightly or there's a challenge, the same REXs will follow us throughout the rest of the surgery. And some of these nucleus management were the ones we encountered as part of difficult capsulorhexis. So please, can we all agree at this point that any maneuver you choose to adopt to accomplish the four things we mentioned is right? Any maneuver you choose to adopt to, number one, free the nucleus from the capsular bag adhesion. Number two, deliver the nucleus out of the bag, safely out of the bag. Number three, deliver this nucleus in the anterior chamber out of the eyeball. So, and then reform the anterior chamber. Let's agree that because there will be variations, there will surely be variations in the outcome of our REXs differently. So let's agree any safety measure we all adopt to achieve these four things is considered okay. So based on that, let's play the video. This is not definitively all there is in nucleus conductance. So there is capsular disadvantage to the left, capsular advantage to the right. This eye had been initially decompressed, so there'll be no need to do hydrodissection. Okay. Let me go back a little. All right, so everybody, please, if you have good audio and good visuals, please just give me some thumbs up. Good audio and good visuals, please just give me some thumbs up. I had to pause this video to show something. If you're with me, give me some thumbs up, please. I mentioned something about tunnel length. I mentioned something about tunnel length. Please, if you're with me, just let me know that you're with me. Thumbs up, please. Thank you, thank you. All right. The video, I paused the video. Please, people are complaining that there's no video. I paused the video. I paused the video. Let me type. I paused the video. I want to show something. I had mentioned the tunnel length. The tunnel length is from the incision at the sclera through the tunnel to the intracameral entry. Okay, so I have a polythene.
It's only your phone that we're seeing.
I didn't hear, please. Can you see my cursor, please?
No.
Can you see my cursor?
Can't
No.
see your cursor. A set of
Only your
videos.
phone that.
Not
Okay,
a
let me.
particular one.
Okay, confirm the video playing now.
Not yet, sir.
All right, so I have to stop sharing and restart all over again. Okay. I think it is network induced. Apologies, sir, please. Apologies, everybody. Let me share back again. Please confirm if video is clear.
Yes, please.
Can you see my video now?
Yes, please.
All right, so I want to show us something.
Yes.
All right, thank you, please. I wanted to stress the tunnel length and why it is important in SICS. All right, by definition, SICS is supposed to be self-sealing. That also means that the tunnel, when finally opposed against each other after surgery, shouldn't require any form of suturing. And that only comes if you have adequate tunnel length. So watch my cursor. This is my cursor. How did I know where I am making my intracameral entry? Because of this point of the crescent blade. Now, the textbook says you should aim at 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeter. Apparently, I did 2 millimeters here. I will assume, probably because my scleral incision is less than 2 millimeters. Apparently, that was why I adjusted the intracorneal extension before I entered into the anterior chamber, so that I can have at least minimum of 3 millimeters tunnel length. That was why I said in SICS, iris prolapse shouldn't be a problem. Why? Because I am entering the intracameral space away from the iris root. Should there be any iris mobilization outside, it should come underneath the tunnel. So iris prolapse should not be. It's always good to watch your entry and note your tunnel length. You can actually start with measuring your tunnel length until you achieve a safety or a safe tunnel length for yourself. Now I am safer with 3 millimeters tunnel length. You might actually want to start with 2 if that is okay with you. You might actually want to do 3 millimeters tunnel length. I think it is with practice that you get used to what works for you. But let's look at how I did it. I extended towards 10 o'clock, the same 3 millimeter gauge towards 2 o'clock position. So with like this now, I have adequate protection. Even if my incision had mistakenly gone to the limbus, I have adequate tunnel length to protect the eyeball. In my practice, I always like to see my capsule. So what I did here was, first of all, to be sure that the capsule was safe. I am not seeing the capsular margin towards my left. So with visco, always at each one time being expressed in front of me, I was able to peep and confirm to myself that my capsular bag was intact before further manipulations started. So this was me delivering the nucleus out of the bag into the anterior chamber. After which, I will now deliver the same nucleus out of the eyes. So to be sure that the capsular bag is far away from me, I must make sure that I deepen the bag, not just the anterior chamber, but the bag, locate the bag. You could see the capsular rim as I deepened that environment because I want to put in my vertex. Before the quantity of visco I put in the eye will shallow out, the nucleus is out already. And if you watch, actually, there's no wrinkling of the capsular bag. That also means that the initial bolus of visco I put in the eye was safe enough. This is the second one we did. We managed these rexes. We attempted to decompress initially, so there is no need for hydro dissection because we have already freed the nucleus. So I'm achieving my tunnel length again. All right, this is probably 2.5 or 3 millimeter tunnel length. And again, if you want the tunnel length, it is just abutting the iris margin. So in any event, the iris is being mobilized outward. It will just trap underneath the tunnel length. So it's easy to say, and I believe those who say they shouldn't be iris prolapse. How do I believe them and why will I believe them? Because if the tunnel length is adequate, the iris root shouldn't even come in the view in the first place. So that was me. My non-tooth forceps, which is my spatula, is serving as a fulcrum. I'm using the SICS cube to nudge the nucleus around that fulcrum. I needed the bag to be refilled here. In the process, it will serve as a lubricant for the hard nucleus to leave the bag. At this moment, I don't agree with those who do the magic motion of nucleus straight from the bag and out of the eyes. For those that do that, I'm sure they're highly experienced in what they do. So I will not recommend that for somebody who is beginning his or her career in cataract surgery to make such a motion of nucleus from back to outside of the eyes. It's safer to mobilize the nucleus out of the bag into the anterior chamber. Refill the bag. Watch what I'm doing. That's the bag there. Watch the bag fills up. So even if it takes me the next 2 minutes or thereabouts to put in my vertex safely, I'm too sure that I'll lose minimal as it were, visco. This eye has not been well decompressed, so we are going to have a problem with this eye. Okay, I thought as much. So the capsule is wrinkling. So at this point, is full hardy pulling, centripetal or circumferential, is not safe. What I should have done here in hindsight is to use my microforceps to finish up the rexes. And I think that's what I actually did. So the motion I have made between 4 o'clock up until 3 o'clock position was very unnecessary because I've given myself capsular disadvantage at this point. Rex is completed, but with a disadvantage. And this disadvantage will follow throughout nucleus management, throughout cortex management, and then it will influence ion implantation. Look at my tunnel length again. Tunnel length is probably 1.5 inside of the cornea and about 1 in the sclera. So this tunnel length is probably 2.5 millimeters. So adequate tunnel length is a guarantee for protection from iris prolapse. And not just that, somehow, because there is some protection, visco does not run out so freely. Let's also agree on one thing, that it is okay for your hands to be shaky at this point. Please, it is okay. If your hands shake at this point, you don't have to beat up yourself. It's okay. It can happen. All you need to do is visco, visco, visco. Watch my hand. Visco is pouring in. That is why only what I want to come out with me is coming out. I don't know if I have the permission to rewind what just happened now. So you can see what visco was doing. Let's look at this. Visco, 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 visco. That's why the iris is not moving on me because I was not touching the iris. And look at how things are coming out. Only the nucleus is coming out. Every other thing is stable. Why? Because I was repressurizing adequately as I was delivering the nucleus. So maybe I belong to the school of thought that says visco is cheaper than vitreous, and also visco is cheaper than corneal endothelium. So with this copious visco I've used, the endothelium is largely protected, and I'm not sure the capsular bag will come in view. Okay, so I'm done by repressurizing the eyeball. So this is the best nucleus management. Leave the eyeball back in its anatomical position. So let's look at this. Rexis happens to be good. So there's a message here. Okay. So this Rexis is fair enough. Look at my tunnel length. This is probably 2.5 millimeter tunnel length. And I managed to guide the same tunnel length approximately. I'm not too sure I'm right always, but approximately I guide my tunnel length to be fairly the same from 12 o'clock position to my right, which is 10 o'clock position, and to my left, which is also 2 o'clock position. In that process, I don't even bother myself about iris prolapse, please. So just take a place for fulcrum. All right. So notch carefully. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. If you want to pause and take a bottle of Coke, it's allowed, please. If you want to crack a joke at this point, you have my permission. Crack a joke. Whatever will make you free up the adrenaline surge, please. All we want at this point is good outcome. Okay, so visco is pouring in. As I'm talking to you, visco is pouring in. Nothing moving the eye except the nucleus. Why? Because visco was heavily being poured inside. That's how you protect the capsular bag. And because the visco will go to the 6 o'clock position and reflux backwards, definitely endothelium will be protected also. Can I make a disclosure? This is me being truthful to myself. I use close to, in fact, in my budgeting for cataract surgery, I budget 1.5 ml of visco per patient. Of course, not every time I finish it, but it makes me freely use visco like I want. So it's part of my budget per eye. Some institutions have constraints. If your institution has a peculiar constraint, well, let's just work with what we have. But if it becomes possible, let's protect the eyes. I know there are some constraints. I myself, I was also in such conditions. But usually, now what I do is to make sure I have my own safety measures because it is my reputation that will be at stake. The institution may not even know what is going on. So let's look at the tunnel length again. See that tunnel length? That is probably 2 millimeters into clear cornea, if I'm correct, and probably 2 millimeters to sclera. So on the average, this is plus or minus 3.5 millimeter tunnel length or even 4 millimeter tunnel length. So incision length could be as long as you want it to be. 6 millimeters, 8 millimeters is okay. But tunnel length is protective. Now, that was why I said the most important two steps in SICS is your incision. Your incision length, your tunnel length, very critical. And the second most critical step in SICS is how you manage the rexes. Any problem with incision will follow you throughout the surgery. Any problem with rexes will follow you throughout the surgery. Disco, you see the bag is deepened. I'm glad I showed you. The bag is so deep now. So anything I'm introducing into the eyes, the back, the posterior capsule can never come in view. Someone sent a message and said um, a challenge in posterior capsule. All right. So challenges with posterior capsule usually would be if they are in view, if they are that close, even the instrument can poke on it. Vectis can actually tear the posterior capsule. So the best approach to protect the posterior capsule during nucleus management is to repressurize. They bag the anterior chamber. They bag first the anterior chamber. Even if you were just repressurizing the anterior chamber, please tilt the nucleus away and push visco into the bag. Okay, who remembers this? The Argentina flag sign of yesterday. So let's see how we'll manage this. Remember we said any problem with rexis will follow you throughout the surgery. This person, in fact, disclosure, vision after surgery was 6/9. So let's see how we got this person back vision to 6/9. Repressurize, visco, visco, visco. Now, let me explain something, please, if you don't mind. We now have Argentina flag sign that have divided this unintentionally into two halves, the capsule into two halves. The posterior half, am I saying the right thing now? This is the, it's not posterior here, but this is towards 6 o'clock position, and this is towards 2 o'clock position, because this is the surgeon's position. So I now have this very thick nucleus. What I think should be done, I think it's what I actually did, was to just nudge on this. If you can locate the approximate center of this nucleus, so that just push it towards 6 o'clock. Let it enter into the fornix of the capsule posteriorly, I mean downward at 6 o'clock position. And this capsular flap will retract out of this hold on the capsule. With that, you can now put in visco underneath the bag to repressurize the bag and balloon it out and downwards, while you now notch this nucleus out again into the anterior chamber. So two ways to it. You can move this nucleus forward while this capsule retracts back to 6 o'clock position and reposition back, or you move it backwards while this capsule retracts back out again, and then you now have a hemi nucleus to work on. Let's see what I did. I think that's my better judgment. Okay. So the whole essence of 10 teachers is to do this zoom in, zoom out. Areas of interest, you slow it down, zoom in, zoom out, so you can take your time to have a good lecture for yourself. Tunnel length, I'm following it approximately towards 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock position. Some people actually will leave their tunnel, the tunnel length, and they'll just leave it at 1 o'clock position and at 11 o'clock position. Meanwhile, the incision started from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. In that scenario, if the nucleus is harder than expected, it will be difficult to deliver. Okay, so this is what I was saying. Push it backwards, it retracts. So you now have a hemi nucleus above and below the capsular bag. So this cannot be noise. I prefer pushing it backwards to the inferior capsular fornix because it will be easier for me to manage whatever is close to me. Now, at this point, let us all agree that if it takes you 1 hour to finish up, it's okay. At this point, any maneuver, however slow but safe, is okay. As long as the nucleus is now out of the capsule. Our work here is to confirm I'm checking for the capsular integrity and I can see my capsule is deep enough, then I'm good to go with my vectis extractor. If your institution has irrigating vectis, that is okay. You can use irrigating vectis. Now, because I'm not sure of the integrity of the capsule at this point, I will go to the side port to repressurize. Push the capsule back, iris back, then I can now maneuver. In that process, safety is guaranteed. If you actually know why I moved the nucleus out of the way instead of bringing it out of the eyes, I pushed it sideways. I wanted to see the capsule at that point, and I wanted to see the iris configuration at that point. Is the iris folded on me? Is the iris tipping out? So the thing to do at that moment is not to escort everything out. It's possible you might even nudge out your nucleus. Sorry, your capsule. So to the best of my knowledge, always confirm before anything leaves the eye that the iris is safe, that the capsule is safe, please. If you remember this one, I included it because as a difficult case, we couldn't see or we're not able to see the capsular margin. So hydro dissection will be difficult. Hydro delineation can be attempted. I don't know why I did not do it, but I probably must have done my length of classification to give it maybe nuclear dense sclerosis NS3 or NS4. If it is NS3, I can still go to the periphery of the nucleus and do my hydro delineation. Now, this is me rocking the the nucleus, but with copious visco in every direction. How do I know there's copious visco? The iris is not moving. If I was doing this motion and iris was dancing around me, my instrument hitting the iris, then I will know that I do not have sufficient depth of the anterior chamber. But because I was always, pouring visco in front of me, so each time I'm coming, the iris just gives me way. So again, I will patiently be sure that my capsule is intact before I complete this motion. I know those who are experienced in doing this may have a faster way of doing it, but I think just taking our time to be sure the capsule is still with you wouldn't hurt. Visco goes in front of me. Watch iris moves away. Visco goes in front of me. Visco goes in front of me. At least bag will be protected. Endothelium will also somehow be protected. So this was a difficult case because we could not see the margin. Now, I can't remember if it was a cough, the patient coughed or moved, but I had to stop. Visco, visco, visco. If I put in my vector at this point, I may not know how far the nucleus is still left in the eye. So putting vectors when you don't have good view of the whole circumference of the nucleus, I would discourage that. With time, you can do maneuvers that you want to do, but for safety reasons, please, just be sure that the whole circumference of the nucleus is in your good view. To pressurize to the side port. For those who might want to consider a career upgrade from SICS to FECO, the advice is to start putting double side ports while doing SICS. Not because you cannot do with one, but start learning to use the side port in your non-dominant hand. It's easy to use side port in your dominant hand, but if for any reason you are considering doing FECO later in your career, please, I will also join in advising double side ports and start practicing to do maneuvers with the non-dominant hand. Somehow it will become stronger. Okay, I think this is a good Brexit, so let's see what happens here. It is a bad Brexit. I think that's why I included it. Why is it a bad Brexit? Let me see again. Look at the Rexis. The Rexis is not uniformly round. The Rexis is decentered. It's not centrally positioned. The Rexis has advantage, undue advantage towards surgeon's position, and this is not a good Rexis. So let's see how this difficult case could be managed. It's supposedly supposed to be a free flowing surgery, but wow, let's see. Okay. Tunnel length, very important to me. Tunnel length, very important to me. All right, so with this tunnel length, I think safety of surgery is almost 50% guaranteed. The remaining 40% safety is how I manage the nucleus. Hydro dissection. Pray not to have this kind of patient on table. Okay. Because of that decentration of the capsule, by hydro dissection, the nucleus tipped out of the bag at about 6 o'clock position. So I now said, okay, let's go ahead. So that was me. I did, if I was doing FECO and you tilt the nucleus, either you want to do the carousel technique or you want to cut it yourself, especially in soft cataract. It's difficult to go grooving soft cataract without endangering the bag. So because this is soft, I thought maybe the FECO hand should apply, which is tilt it up and then carousel it out. But then this is SICS. So as it is tilted up, I could see that the bag, the capsular bag was no longer firm on it. Repressurize first to the side port before you make the maneuver. My maneuver, first of all, is sideways before out of the eyes. Sideways is just a precautionary measure to confirm that my capsule is intact. The iris is not playing gimmicks on me before I start escorting outside. So mine is protection, protection, protection. Whatever it takes, let's protect the eyeball. So with this now, I can go home. So let's see how we finish this other. Rexis, however good or bad it is, will follow you throughout the surgery. Okay, fair enough. Fair capsular advantage. I think I'll take it like that. Tunnel length. Again, the tunnel length is important to me. Towards 10 o'clock and towards 2 o'clock. Now, with my tunnel length comes another challenge, basement membrane peel, which you have to be careful. Hydro dissection, the nucleus tilts out by itself. It's okay. The fire cortex helps me by coming out freely on themselves. So I will only have just a little nucleus to attend to. Okay. The fulcrum holds and I nudge on the spatula until I am convinced that this nucleus is now out of the capsular bag. Four things we said that has to come in play for a good nucleus delivery. Number one, separate this nucleus from the capsular bag. Number two, deliver the nucleus safely out of the capsular bag into the anterior chamber. Number three, escort this nucleus from the anterior chamber out of the eyes. Number four, repressurize the eyeball. So that way we can say we have managed the nucleus. So I just did a little spiral rexis here. So good capsular advantage. I'm not sure this was initially decompressed. Okay, somebody was telling me about abortion, and I said, okay, it can happen. But look at me now, taking advantage of the tunnel length. So this abortion here at about between 12 o'clock and 11 o'clock position, this abortion here will mean practically nothing post-operatively. The reason is simple. I've already taken advantage of extended tunnel length inside. So that's another safety precaution. In the event of any challenge, there is always a way to solve the problem. In the event of any challenge, there is always a way to solve the problem. I had this abortion here, and my way of solving the problem is to increase my tunnel length. So I won't have any iris coming out, neither will I have anything come from outside going inside. Again, make sure the bag is balloon. The bag is important to me. The bag is important to me. The argument still exists, and I think those that believe that IOL should always be in the bag, I think they're right. I mean, anatomically, that is what should be. Of course, let it be that it becomes the last option before we go to the sulcus, or we claw it on the iris, or we fixate it on the sclera. But whatever measure that will be done to protect the bag, I think it's an advantage at the long run. So, however, or whichever approach you want to adopt, whether you are dominantly left-handed or right-handed, please always protect the capsular bag. This is a very beautiful tunnel length. So that's my tunnel length. Any iris coming out will go underneath that tunnel length. So I'm not going to be bothered about iris prolapse in this case. Hydro dissection. I will explain how I do my hydro dissection again. I do not use large fluid at any moment. So when my assistant is going to give me fluid for hydrodissection, I always specifically ask them to give it to me in 2 ml syringe, or if it's available, please give it to me in insulin syringe. And I'll tell you, give me 27 gauge needle. I'm sorry, cannula. Then after that, please put only 0.5 ml of fluid in the syringe. When that is done, I will still express out some of the fluid until I have 0.3 mark. That's only when I use it to do hydrodissection. At that point, I can jet it out completely. 0.3 ml will never blow up or blow out the capsular bag. 0.3 mils will never blow out the capsular bag. Now, if I don't have complete dissection, then I have to take another 3 mils and go to the counter position. Usually, the surgeon's position is 12 o'clock position. One is advised to go towards 4 o'clock position or 4 o'clock position. Someone is asking a question, when to do hydrodelineation, when to do hydrodissection. It depends on the classification given to the nucleus. If my length of specification classification was nucleus sclerosis grade 2, then I will know that it's going to be a soft nucleus. If it is grade 1, it's definitely going to be a soft nucleus. If it is grade 3, grade 4, then I expect some little density. So for grade 1, grade 2, I'll do hydrodelineation because I want extra epinuclear shell to support the bag until I'm ready to remove the epinuclear shell. If I have NS, what is this? Okay. Okay, let's watch and see from here. If I have NS3, NS4, that is denser nucleus, what I'll do is I'll do hydrodissection. So hydrodelineation is the surgeon's decision at the moment. If you think there should be extra protection of the capsular bag, please do hydrodelineation. The epinuclear shell posteriorly will support the bag until such a time you are ready to remove such epinuclear shells. Okay, so let me do my 4-4. I'm comfortable with 4-4. 4, 2, and back to 4. And incision length of 8 millimeters, but I'll end up using 6 millimeters. I make 8 millimeters. In the event that I need to do expansion, it will be easier for me. So I've gotten a plane I like. I follow that plane first and see how it shows me on clear cornea, and that's okay by me. So I continue. Now, while I choose frown incision because I can do tunneling of the sclera. SICS is scleral tunneling. Without scleral tunneling, it might as well become a modified ECC. The scleral tunneling guarantees wound sealing with or without extra support of sutures. I like using adrenaline as diluted to do my irrigation at this point. It helps me blanch the bleeding. I'm not in the habit of cauterizing when I'm not teaching anybody. If I'm just doing my surgery alone, I don't necessarily cauterize, but I use diluted adrenaline, 1 ml of adrenaline in a 10 ml syringe, and I top it up with 9 ml saline. It becomes my diluted adrenaline, as it were. So I use it to blanch, and before the middle of the surgery, you may never know that there was even a bleeding. That is my approach. And somehow I found it okay to blanch the tunnel. Sometimes you may have blood within the tunnel that you have created, so it can obscure view. If you check at 2 o'clock position, you could still see um, blood stain here. But then I was able to wash off some of the blood stain. Let's look at the tunnel length. Fine. So that's about what? From here to here is about 1 to 1.5 millimeters. And from here to here is about 1.5 millimeters. So approximately tunnel length about 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters or a little more. Okay. This was not a good Rexus. The outcome of my procedure is not always my problem. My problem is how I got the outcome. If I can convince myself step-by-step process of getting this good outcome, that means I can reproduce the outcome. So nothing should be by chance. This was not a good Rexus because my desired perimetry was too wide initially. Maybe because I had intended making it a wide Rexus. It's okay. But look at how I'm trying to solve that problem of the initial wide Rexus. I now give myself capsule advantage within the perimetry in front of me. So I now have, yeah, zooming in, you could see this, as it were, capsular advantage. And that was the capsular disadvantage. If I'm going to do hydro dissection, I've found myself doing hydro dissection. Okay, this is about 2 o'clock position. Ideally, they say 8 o'clock or 4 o'clock, but I can't find advantage of capsule there. I don't want to go busting it out. So I now came towards 2 o'clock position to do my hydro dissection. If need be, do hydro dissection to the side port where you have capsular advantage. Now, these are peculiar cases. It is not the norm. It's expected that you shouldn't have these kind of difficult scenarios. But should they occur, at that moment, your surgical initiative matters. And like I always convince myself, any decision I take under safety measure, I think I can be forgiven. Okay, I thought it was my camera that was not capturing, not knowing that it was a black um, nucleus. Now I can have red reflex. Repressurize first before cleaning up the rest of the softness matter. Move to sideways before you move upwards. The epinuclear shell, don't just be in a hurry to move it out of the eye. Move it sideways. Confirm that the bag is safe. Confirm that the iris is not in any way troubling you. Then you can move out. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, what a way to manage difficult, um, um, from difficult Rexes to nucleus management. Please, just give me some thumbs up. I think somebody showed me an emoji to yawn. Let me see if I can find that emoji of yawning. Please, 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 let me yawn. I want to yawn.
Thank you so much. It's been another wonderful session. Many thumbs up. Do you have questions? Any questions so far? Okay, there's a question here. I think you answered it. Do you have any other questions or clarification? people also talk about hydrodissection, hydrodissection, the context is polar and pure surfactant. Are you with us?
I think your network is poor, Dr. Nurat.
Okay. I think it's been a wonderful.
So we lost Dr. Anya. I don't know whether we should call it a day. Dr. Nurat.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I said we lost Dr. Anya.
Yes. And I think so far, no questions, no comments. Everywhere is quiet. Some people.
Apologies, I don't know what happened to my system. I had to reboot. Please, I'm so sorry.
Problem, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We're about ending the meeting. I don't know if you
Great.
still have any.
You mean what to say next? Well, I think the best thing to say is, let me type it out. Let me type Visco. Please, if you're here, type Visco. Visco until your hands start telling you Visco. Visco. Start with me until your hands start telling you Visco. Hands are telling me now. So Visco into 5. My hand was not telling me. My hand started telling me. Okay, if I can share the link to the YouTube channel. Yes, sure, I can, please. The video we just watched now is 12.1 gigabytes. The one we used yesterday was 25 gigabytes. Hopefully before tomorrow morning, all of them will be up on the net and I will all gather them together, please. Apologies. I have some already. If I have permission, I could just drop some links here. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, Nora can do that, please, if you don't mind. Let's not waste our time, please.
Thank you so much, sir.
God bless you. So Visco. Nucleus management, Visco. Nucleus management, Visco. Nucleus management, Visco. Please, can anybody get me another Visco? Yes, get me another Visco. Hey, can anybody get me another Visco? This one's going to finish. Get another Visco. Use your money and pay for it. To the best of my knowledge, any safe eye, you finish. The satisfaction you will get will be far better than what you invested in getting that eye into safety. Thank you, everybody, and may God bless you all.